Okay, going ahead and calling this regular meeting of the Halifax Select Board to order. It is December 2nd, 2025. I was back in the 1990s, guys. 2025, let's get the right year. It is 6 o'clock. We are in a local incident, so we have taken this meeting to be fully remote because of a snowstorm that is underway as we speak. And so we're going to do our best to try to get this meeting to go as planned. But let's start by asking if there are changes and additions to the agenda.
No.
I have heard none. Okay, so let's go ahead and proceed as we are. Okay, all right. And somebody I'm going to let this iPhone in because it's the person who identified themselves via email and iPhone. It is Nancy McCrae. Nancy, can you make sure?
I'm sorry.
No,
the
that's
chat's disabled on this phone and I couldn't figure it out. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm putting you in and changing your name. And okay, there we go.
There's the video. It's me.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Hi.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Cool. I'm going to try to close the participants for now. I've got Karen as a co-host for the budget piece of it, and we'll proceed with the agenda as we had planned earlier. I'm going to go off camera because not only do I not like myself front view, but the side view is even worse. So I'm the pretty picture now. First thing we wanted to do was talk about old business. And what we want to do is talk about the incoming credit card payments through Hamer Enterprise. So, Lori, I did some research, and I think you were going to do some additional research to see if we had actually made a vote to accept incoming payments through our website using this Hamer Enterprises. And if we have not, I am requesting that we do so tonight.
I looked quickly, but I didn't see anything.
Okay. All right. And your bandwidth is saying low to me. So if anybody needs to go off camera, that's fine.
And I doubt you didn't find anything.
No,
I say that again.
Your bandwidth is low, so you've frozen on my screen, and feel free to go off camera if you have trouble.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I've had trouble with the internet for a couple of days. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you again. Yeah, you're a little choppy now and again, but mostly okay. So, okay. So we had talked about having the credit card payments.
Yes. So, hopefully you can hear me. We had waited. Hamer Enterprises still needed. Oh, I believe they have everything they need to start getting things set up, and they're working with Greg from Fire Media. And as soon as, and I told Greg we might have to approve the move tonight. So the only other thing they had a question, which I believe how we were going to do the whether it's a single application for all the transaction types, or I think what they're going to end up doing, and we can discuss this, having two separate ones, one for property taxes and the other for all the other clerk fees would probably work out the best. Does that sound?
Sorry, one for what?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard
one will be for the property tax.
Okay.
And the other one, all other town clerk fees. So I believe that's what they're, but Ed will work with us and probably have some emails going on at the same time. So if we do the vote tonight, then they can move forward with getting that Cash App on the town website.
Hey, Lori?
Yes.
Under all other town clerk fees, and just for I mean, presumably it's things like, licensing, marriage licenses, things like that.
Yeah, dog license, so on.
Okay, great. What about if we haven't gotten there, but just since we're kind of creating an infrastructure for the future, what if we collect fees for ordinances? Junk ordinance, I don't know if we ever have a road ordinance
Hmm.
and fees for right of ways, stuff like that.
Okay, driveways and so on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
so
those are
we should
town
maybe,
clerk fees, but we might want to
yeah.
separate out um, those kind. We might want to.
Yeah, because it seems like the right of way one we use, I don't know. We use it or we see it, so we know they're there.
Well, where do the fees go now that are paid for like permits and whatnot?
Well, that's true.
I
That's
mean, I'm
true. We
assuming it's
just need
all town clerk.
yeah, we may just need an account number that separates specific payments so that the website, but we want the website to have a click box that says, right of way fee,
Yeah,
right? Or their, marriage license or, whatever they're doing. As opposed to just saying, hey, I'm sending you this credit card payment and not have
correct.
a
Yeah.
really detailed front end explanation.
I mean, we can talk to him. I'm sure he can set it up however we want. So, I guess if anybody thinks of, any other fees, like I said, I can send the email. Right now they have it listed, and I don't think any of you are on this. No, just Patty. The property tax, copy vault fees, dog license, hunting license, permit fees, cemetery income, marriage licenses, vital records, and we'll add right-of-way fee.
And we should probably there's hunting licenses, I guess, on the other, that would be hunting and fishing.
Yep, that's on here. We have that on the list. Yep.
What about posting fees, property posting?
I mean,
It's
we
just
can
a
add
separate
that. We can
fee. I
certainly,
know she accounts for it separately. I just don't know
okay.
if that
See,
money
that's
stays with the town or goes to the state. That's more of an accounting
right.
question, maybe.
Wouldn't all these
Okay, yeah.
fees, all right, wouldn't all these fees, even if paid by a credit card, still have to go before Patty to be sorted out to go to whatever they're for? Or no?
I think it's probably yes, but I think
Yeah,
the person who's going in to do something should select what it is they're doing, and she'll see on the other end, and she'll say, "Oh yeah,
that's
Ray
a so-and-so.
talked to me, and he said he was going to do ABC, and I told him yes, and here that is."
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you're right, but she can't be checking every single because we have to figure out how that's going to connect in with the NEMRIC system
Right.
and all
All
of our
right.
various accounts.
What I wonder if it would be best if she came up with the list that she uses now for which line,
Definitely. Yeah.
instead of us trying to do it for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I can check on that with her. She might have had some input with this Tony, who's the contact with Enterprise, and that's probably where he came up with this list. Um, so, but I can check with her again to make sure everything's on there that she thinks she needs.
Yeah, and then Laura, if you could just put when you're talking to Patty, just also a reminder that she and I should then connect on how that works with the NEMRIC accounts.
Okay. Yep.
Because otherwise she's going to have to do triple entry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll check with Karen for NEMRIC accounts. All right.
And then I just wanted to note, on the ordinances, I would say let's not try to call those out separately at the moment because some of that money has to go to the Vermont Judicial Bureau. I don't know how
Right.
that works yet. And then I wanted to make a note, which was in our minutes from previously, that what this will be, there's no cost to the town for the service, but the taxpayer fees will be $3 per $100 for payments up to $500. And over $500, it's a 3% fee for payments. So
Right.
I'm guessing even those small ones like your dog licensing, it's going to be $3 because it's going to be less than 100. So people may not use it, but it gives them
No,
an option for that.
I feel
So,
like that
can you
Patty
read that?
was most thinking that the property tax would be utilizes the most. And, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she was thinking.
So sorry, it's $3. Could you read that again? It was $3
Yep.
per $100.
Yeah, $3 fee per $100 for payments up to $500.
500. Okay.
And then a 3% fee for payments over $500.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I think for now, really what we need is that we need the board to authorize using this service, which, the wheels have been turning. Patty brought this to us originally. She can be consulted for that. So but I didn't want us to not say from an accounting perspective, yes, we're ready to move ahead with this mechanism for payment. So does somebody want to make a motion? And I can do it if nobody else wants to.
I mean, I can do it here. You can
Okay,
change
great.
it if you want. So I was thinking, so I make a motion to have Five Fire Media work with Hamer Enterprises to set up the payment on the town website.
I'm sorry,
To set up the payment application on the town website.
credit card payments
Yes.
on the website?
Yeah, do we need to list that to be used with credit cards?
I think let's just say, yeah, because this is the credit card piece that is different. Okay, do I have a second?
I have a quick question. I'm happy to second, but a very quick question because it's
Okay.
credit card. Do we have to say exactly which credit cards? Does it matter from your?
I don't know.
I
don't
think
know that.
we're working with basically they're having to set up a merchant account and it's connected to M&T Bank. So whatever that merchant service and the Hamer Enterprises can leverage in terms of credit cards, I think will be fine. But I don't want to say, oh, we take American Express and we don't take Discover or whatever.
Yeah. I misexplained. Will the website indicate what credit cards we're accepting?
That I think we can get Greg rather to set up, right?
Yeah, it just needs to say so people go in there and say, oh, I want to use American Express, and then we find out they can't, and it's frustrating. And that's just more of a website design. It should just show what credit cards we look at or will.
I mean, it seems like once they start entering the account number, that has an identifier in it for which card it is, and so I don't know. Does it matter anymore?
Yeah, as long as it does that. But that's kind of more on our end than.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Christofferson seconded the motion.
I second, yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye by saying your last name, please, because we're all remote today.
Pike, aye.
Christofferson, aye.
Marcagiani, aye.
Ashcraft, aye.
Edwards, aye. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right. Next up, preliminary flood insurance rate maps, the firm from FEMA. Once again, I've gone through the process of telling them, like, I don't understand what you want us to do here, getting the answer back, like, kind of, there's not a lot for you to do right now. The firm maps that we're talking about right now are from the West River watershed, not the ones that impact more of the town. So just letting you know, I'm still in touch with them. At some point, these pieces will come back together. I don't need to do anything more than close the loop, I think, with Tom Fox and Tom Kyle as a zoning administrator, just to say, yeah, I think we can say there's maps, and I took a quick look at them, and I don't see anything big that I can say is wrong. I did tell them I didn't like the placement of one road name, but they said, oh, that's where it belongs. I'm like, well, it doesn't look like where the road is to my mind, but I'm not gonna, I gave you my comment, and you can do what you want with it. So pretty small stuff at the moment. Okay, so any questions on that?
Nope.
So that road down where Jordan lives, is that in the flood zone? Down
So
there by
that
112?
that was the preliminary maps for that came out way back when you
Yeah.
first talked to them, and
Okay.
there's no change to their properties letter of there's a letter that they have that says, yes, we understand that your house is not itself in the flood zone, or something to that
Okay.
effect.
Okay.
So I think we're good on that front for the time being.
Okay.
The permanent maps will give us another comment period, and then they will be official.
Okay. All
And
right.
that's coming still. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so next up, let's talk about DV fiber versus Fidium for the town garage. I put 15 minutes in here for this. The net result of it is I gave Karen an updated email as to when I last tried to push on that issue. And I made the comment that the paper that we got from Mike doesn't have a formal price list, but it does in fact have fine print on it that says these rates are only good for the first year. So they're giving a special deal. They're trying to get people hooked up. And given that the town is part of the DV Fiber Consortium, which is a group of municipalities who have said we are going to get together to provide fiber internet service. I'm not personally in favor of us getting entangled further and deeper with Fidium, which is a consolidated communications group, which I've had, innumerable problems with as a customer of them. And so anyway, I just wanted to lay that out. I don't know what anybody else has researched or found or thought about this issue. But it's basically a problem that occurred because we don't have enough administrative support to get things done sometimes. And I tried to ask Patty and Paul to push it through and to get it moving, and it just didn't happen. So
what has to get done to push it through?
Somebody has to go to the website and say, we want this service. There is a form that David Jones already filled out for us back in February or something of last year that says the site is good to go. Here's what the installation is going to look like. And then somebody needs to be at the town garage, and somebody needs to, and Paul wanted to be involved in it as the town's person who does computer stuff. So, I mean, really what has to happen is somebody has to say, yes, we're ready, and then be at the town garage. And some of the reason that we didn't do it last mud season was because it was mud season. And then we held off a little bit because there were personal, issues that were people were dealing with. So we're trying to get it into not having it be done in the middle of winter. But at this point, it's an overhead connection, and it's like, just tell them to do it. And
yeah,
it's their responsibility to do it and do it safely.
How about if I give Paul a call, ask him what needs to happen. If Edie, if you want to resend me, if we decide, I mean, I'm sure the board will decide, but if there's kind of two tracks, right? So if the track is to continue with DV fiber, it just has to get hooked up pretty quick. And I have not been impressed with DV fiber's ability to service accounts. And I view hooking up the garage as a pretty massive servicing the account. And they need to make it easier. right? So for them to say, well, we're going to come within a 12-hour period on a particular day, that's not acceptable because it's a garage, right? It's like telling a hospital you'll, show up at some point next week. If they can be a little more user friendly, I think then that's a good idea. As far as the cost, we have to be able to do apples and apples. Because I have not been, my biggest concern, big time, with DV Fiber is its ability to service problems. And if we have a major outage, like they were out for like 5 hours one day because the line was down in town here. It was just one line, and they couldn't fix it for 5 hours.
That was actually a fire up in further north, like not even involving, I mean, I don't know, up near Putney or something. And they do have redundancy built into the network, but I don't know if that was a trunk line or exactly why that particular thing happened. But yes, there was an outage for that. And, again, those of us who have had Consolidated as a phone company, when the phone went out, they were not, they did not have battery backups at their substations or whatever they're called, and my internet would go too, right? So, I mean, none of these places are going to be perfect in terms of availability. But, as a former DV Fiber alternative, they were trying to build redundancy into the network. And, that one instance is the only time I recall being out of service with them.
Like this was in the last like month or so. This was very recent.
There was a 5 hour outage recently.
Yeah, we were out. There was a bunch of us up here were out. Somebody hit her. It was a line was down or something. A pole went down, and they didn't fix it for the longest time. I remember the one you were talking about, that fire. That was a lightning strike. That one I remember. But
Okay.
This was more recently. So what I'm concerned about is if there's a big weather event and a bunch of trees come down on a bunch of lines, they're still overhead. Do they have the trucks to get out there and actually put us back? As bad as Consolidated is, and I've heard a lot of people say that, at least they have trucks and they can get out there. That's really my only comment. But if everybody thinks we should go with them, then we should go with them. We should just make it move fast.
So, I mean, and I did not follow through and ask anybody from DV Fiber, like our local representative Detlef, or David Jones, who used to be involved with it some years back, or Patrick Moreland, who is the current executive director, to come to a meeting. But I'm going to guess we could get that to happen if that is of concern for people. The idea that we are considering not going with them, I am sure that they would provide somebody here to discuss that with us if we wish to do that. Better understand their service and their outages. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I guess it's a good idea to have more information on repairs or potential availability to repair. I mean, unfortunately, with any overhead, wires, whether it be copper or fiber, it's susceptible to damage. So.
Yeah, and I mean,
I guess the concern is, do they have the trucks and the wheels on the ground to manage something when there was one line down up here and it took the better part of a day to get people?
I mean, I've heard other people complain about the repair work too with DV Fiber, but I don't know any details. But for a while now, I've heard people say that. But
they're a small outfit, right? And so they've been building out so they've been trying to do a good thing. Me and others have supported them, but when it comes right down to it, do they have the critical mass to actually be a good functioning provider of such an important service? So that's really kind of what it comes down to. And then if we've got something important like the garage on a different service, there's a certain redundancy in that maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. But I just want them to have service. Now, if we if we go with DB fiber, that's, we go with DB fiber. But I think we just need to get the garage upgraded.
Well, Consolidated sucks. You can't even get a hold of them.
Okay.
They won't come out. I don't care unless they've changed. I don't know. Is Fidium own them now or is what happened? I don't know. I know there's been a guy going around trying to get everybody to go to them, but like Edie said, it's probably the price is gonna, if you do, the price is gonna go up. But
Yeah, no, and that makes sense that it would just be a lost leader for the first year.
yeah, that's not good. I haven't had any trouble with DB fiber, but now I will. Knock on wood.
Don't jinx yourself.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to do whatever the initial legwork is to find out if we can get a date. But I need somebody on the inside to say, please pin down, like, it takes a few hours to hook somebody up, right? It's not a small job. It still takes a few hours at a location, but
Yeah.
they need to give us a little more specificity about when they're coming, so that if somebody has to sit there, and I can always ask Paul, and I can find out from Paul, to what extent he wants to be available. If he can't be available, then he's going to have to come do something after the fact. But I don't think we can have the garage waiting much longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to do something. Yeah.
And I mean, given the time of year, I'm close, so I could go sit at the town garage, but what I don't have is a key to get in the building, right? So that's why it needs to, we do need to say, here are the, service times that they can, that somebody will start you there, and then I can go babysit if need be, right?
So what's the best? So what's the kind of order of activity? Do you want me? Can I get my hands on that form for David? I can go online and try and start the process, but
Yeah, so I think the email that I sent you recently, Karen, should have a link to the form.
okay.
And if you can't access that link for some reason, just ping me again and I'll download it. And I think as much as anything else, I don't recall if that was submitted to them, but it should give them the technical detail that they need to know about what the installation will require. And yeah, and then again, just keeping Paul in the loop, that we're moving ahead with it. And the other thing we were planning to do with the installation was during the time of the installation was disconnect the public Wi-Fi router that's in the building. But I mean, somebody can pull a cord or not plug a cord in, right? And then that thing should go down. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Let me know how I can help, Karen. Thank you for taking that on.
Sure. And we're saying that we're not going to have the public access.
Correct. We decided that if somebody wants, like if there's a vendor there that needs access, that in those cases they can give out the password.
Well, we can do. There's a guest. It would be Halifax guest. It'd be garage guest. So that
Yeah.
would be cool.
If Paul can help set up a dual login system, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. All right. So the next and last thing under old business, and the bulk of our meeting here is going to be an FY27 budget discussion. And while Karen is getting ready to share her screen for that, just I'll double check, since we're in a virtual environment, if anybody who is a visitor has anything to say, you're welcome to take this moment to do the hearing of visitors. And if not, we can wait till I'll ask again later, is what I'm saying. Stephen?
Nope, all set. Thank you.
Okay. Nancy?
No, I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's proceed to our budget.
Are we gonna spend the rest of the time on the budget?
We're going to do approval of meeting minutes, and we're going
Okay.
to talk about the order. So we're going to follow the general thing, which is just hearing of visitors for 10 minutes, correspondence if there's anything for 10 minutes, approval of the previous meeting minutes,
Okay.
and select board order after
Okay.
those.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I see your screen, Karen. Thank you.
Hey, I wish I could make it bigger on the main screen there. But so where do we, we don't have, obviously we don't have Mike and we don't have Patty. I did not have an opportunity to sit down with Patty since our last meeting to try and reconfigure this actual file so that things like reserve funds are working a little bit differently. And then that all links into surplus deficit. That said, I think we can still go through, unless you guys have something you want to zero in on first, like the line items on either the select board and anything else that might have been outstanding on the highway. I guess my preference would be to keep tonight as uncomplicated as possible. So maybe going through line items, it's not as much fun, but at least we can tick off most of the line items.
Mm-hmm. That seems reasonable.
And then if we've got, then maybe when we get to the end, we can, all agree and look at the things that might be a little more, multi-step. And then I can focus on those with Patty as I'm kind of reconfiguring it so that we can start zeroing in on surplus deficit numbers and, what do we think the final is going to look like. And unfortunately with our local incident today, I don't have the green folder that we've been putting together for some of the town meeting requests.
Yeah, and for the most part, those town meeting requests all go in that one big warning article, so I don't think we need to worry about them typically. But maybe one of the things we can do is, I like the idea of doing line by line, but there's an email that you sent, Karen, about the dispatch fees, and I'm wondering if we can kind of cover that, because email that you sent, I was a little bit still confused by. So that is the, what line item is that?
It's 6610.
6610. Okay. So the 6610 dispatching fees, I'm switching in and out of Zoom and paper here. So the dispatching fees.
Wait, hold on. Something is funny here. This number, we paid the dispatch fee for last year, I thought. Hold on. I apologize. Let me look at the last version. Make sure we don't have. What number is it? 66. Sorry, I don't want to make it. So we did pay that. So let's go back here. 17. Somehow 17,474. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so that was one of my questions is, was it paid last year? And then it looks like we level funded it, or no, the purple is our new column, right? The purple
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. So we paid in August, we paid that 17,474.
Okay.
So we have an invoice. So we paid all of that.
Okay.
And actually this was an invoice that we received January 10th and we paid August 2025. So what I did here in this column, good old column R here, this column, I level funded everything until we change it.
Yeah. Okay. So
but the one point is in the select board order, we have an amount of 19,157, and this is what Dennis was talking about that is the new assessment. And I don't think it should not be in tonight's select board order, because according to the invoice, and you guys have copies, if you look at that invoice, it says the assessment for January 1/26 through 12/31/26, and they're due no later than April 15th, 2026. So that's the amount, 19,157, that is the dispatching fee for next calendar year.
Okay.
So it's I guess it's half at the 17,474, because it should be, well, let's just put this in here for now. That's for calendar year.
Yeah, it feels like we've been paying that delinquently.
No, it's not delinquently. It's not due until, at least what this invoice says, is April 15th, 2026.
But if we pay this by April 16th, 2026, it's going to be in FY26 right along with that $17,000 we've already paid.
Well, that's why we have to decide. We have to pay it in fiscal 27.
Right. So we're gonna tell them that their April 15th deadline is not one that we're gonna make.
Oh, correct. I guess that's true. I just know that we don't have to pay it today.
I know we don't have to pay it today. I am very much in agreement with that. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, how have we handled this in the past? Because
right.
Clearly we're waiting until the next fiscal year starts before we give our information in there. Okay.
I guess I can go through and sit with Patty, and we can look at just compare each invoice and each time period.
Yeah, I know. And the other, yeah, just as a point, I think the other reason I wanted to circle back to this is the email that you sent. You gave an increase that was not the same dollar number increase that Dennis gave. And I just think you were just moving fast is all that was there, because he said it increased by $1,600, which is closer to the reality. All of that to say, we've got that.
I've forgotten what email it was. I apologize. What was the email?
November 26th.
That said dispatch budget increase. And Dennis, you forwarded it from Dennis, and he said the bill for dispatch will increase by $1,683 to $19,157. And then you came through and said dispatch increases by $274.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think it was just whatever, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that's one of the other reasons I thought I better flag this message so that we definitely come back to it tonight. So we've got the number in that we think is at least for, next fiscal year. And if at some point we need to true up and tell them, okay, by April 15th, we'll give you half a year's payment because our fiscal year is this way, we will be over on that line item. But we would want to handle this one like we do the other things that we have 6 months of one fee and 6 months of an unknown fee, right? Especially with Dennis telling us that he thinks this is going to go up at some point due to communication equipment needs and so forth. We might want to budget a little bit more than the 19,157 in anticipation of that. I don't know.
So what I put here in the comment is that we're billed yearly. The name changed from Keene, whatever it was, to Northwestern New Hampshire Fire and Mutual Aid. I'm going to take out, so that was last year's. So he checked on the 27 estimate, and I'm going to say calendar year 26 is 19, and that's what we received.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Get rid of final billing because it only comes in a single bill.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if you want to highlight this one to come back to it or just whatever, but again, with that timing of when they're saying that it's due and when we're actually paying it.
so let me put a comment here. Um, um, okay. I don't know if you can read that, but it says check with Patty regarding dates paid in prior years and compare fiscal 26 versus 27 payment on April 15th, 2026.
Great, thank you.
So that will remind me. Okay.
All right, so that was one that I had flagged and I will now unflag. Okay, is there the other thing that we had talked about at the end of last meeting and is kind of passes over into the reserve fund area is just an acknowledgement that our bridge fund, we are expecting to do some repairs on the bridge at Branch Road and 112. But in good news, the expectation for that is that it will be 100K or less. And we do have money in our reserve fund now, but we want to make sure we don't deplete that because, you know, that's a big chunk of money. If it's 100,000 to repair one bridge, we need to keep funding that area. So I'm just mentioning it again now that we have some of our boon companions here who hear us through the budget cycle and maybe had gone before we remembered that we had a little more information on that. So we are sleeping better at night because we're not expecting $600,000 to replace that bridge. So cool.
Yeah. So what we'll look at, and we can do all the reserve funds together. Is I'm going to consolidate them all in roads that are right together.
Okay, that'll be helpful.
In one place, and so we'll have a reserve fund section of this spreadsheet. But yes, that's that is right.
Okay. All right. So did we want to work through highway line by line to continue, or do we want to start working through select board line by line?
It might be easier for us to go through the select board stuff.
I think we might get further if we do.
I think so. So doing that, should we start at the top?
Yep.
Let's see if I can do it.
All right.
All right. I froze the top row, Lori.
Oh, that's going to help so much. Thank you, Karen.
Yes, thank you so much, because I have a hard time knowing what every column is. I don't have them memorized by color yet.
Yeah.
There.
So just as we're looking at it, so we know what we've spent in 24, what our budgets were, kind of what our difference was. So I think everything should be pretty easy. So shall we start at the top?
Yep.
Yes.
Changes to select board.
So this one is an interesting one because for those who aren't aware, the auditors actually set the select board salaries. And What I don't know is how that would change if in the end of the process we end up with just one, with no elected auditors. I don't know how that works. I am doing a little bit of typing in the background here and trying to come up with the compensation and benefits plan that we put data into, just out of curiosity to see for select board members if there is any sense of pay rates. And it looks like it's going to be a royal mess, but let me just try to do an average. It looks like a lot of them are annual. But there were a couple that were like, $15. I'm like, well, is that an hourly rate then? What are they doing with that? Okay, so the average, when I just grabbed all the select board members and just limited to that as a role, the average is $981.40. All that to say, we have been at this 1,800 for a while. We left it at that when we went to a 5-person board. In prior years, I had said, we have 5 members. Should that be less? And some people argued that it should not be. I can assure the general public that you get $1,800 worth of work out of each and every board member because of just the sheer number of hours we spend in meetings and meeting prep. So I think my one thought about it is, if we are trying to attract people to this role, that amount of money for the amount of work is starting to feel small to me. In the past, I would have said, I don't know. I don't want it to be something that only people who are well off can consider doing, because it is not, again, on an hourly basis, it's a pretty small stipend. But as I just said, that doesn't mean that it's that this was a good comparison, because like I said, some people had possibly hourly rates in that analysis. I haven't looked at it in any more detail, and I could come back to the board with more information if we want to discuss it further. If we want to leave it as is and move on, I am fine with that too. So whatever you guys think.
Last year, I said that we should cut it, and I still feel that way. Probably not everybody feels that way, but you certainly, if you want to figure it by an hourly cost, the amount, like you said, the amount of hours that each member puts into this, some more than others. I don't put in as much as some others do, for sure. But still, you can't. It's a service job, in my opinion. Or a service thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
To set a rate or an hourly rate, it would be, the budget would be, preposterous. So I don't know. I personally, I would say we can cut it, but that's just my 2 cents.
Some
Okay.
years, just speaking for myself, I've not taken it in prior years. So, every so often something comes up and I say, okay, well, maybe I'll take it this year. But what would you reduce it to? Because I'm certainly not opposed to that, but what would you reduce it to?
So it's 1,800 now. 1,000. But again, that's just what I have to say. I'm not the only one here, so yeah, 1,000 per person.
All right, so that would be 5,000.
Yep.
Brenda, Lori, any thoughts
I mean,
on the number?
I definitely think we shouldn't raise it for sure.
No.
And like Edie says, yeah, you're not going to get rich off it. And, you know,
And you're not
I
going to
just,
attract anybody by it either.
right, right. It's a small amount, but if people collect it at the end of the year, the whole thing, they have something to show for it. Maybe they're going to take a vacation or whatever
Mhm.
for all their hard work. But it's a tough one because, we're always fighting taxes going up. And of course, the property tax thing, I'm sure everybody's heard what's going to happen next year.
Ugh.
Um, it feels like we're just banging our heads to try to keep the budget, uh, in tow. And
Yeah,
it's just such peanuts here that I don't know. I
yeah. I
feel
mean, we
like
could,
people need a little
yeah,
reward, I guess.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Because even if it was just taking off $100, right? So it's 8.5. It's down 5.5%. But it's not a big. It's not going to be a big needle mover, right? So I don't know what we gain. I think some people might prefer that we kept it. If there's years where I've not done as much, then I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. I'm not going to take it. It's kind of
Yeah.
all or nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I
And
think
then,
the first time I took it was in the year that Tropical Storm Irene hit. And I'm like, you know what? This pays somebody local to help me clean my house because I'm spending too much
Yeah.
time in this other stuff. And
Yeah.
like that was kind of my justification. And again, I've gone back and forth. I love doing the public service. I enjoy that. But there is an aspect of it that's like government shouldn't be charity either. This is not my
Right.
charity work. It is government work. So um, I did do
Yeah.
another analysis to find get the things that were yearly payments on this thing, and that turned out to be an average of $1,136. But I still am seeing some things in here which are like $15 and $43. I mean, I've talked to other people. They'll be like, "Oh, we only get 600 here." Dover, I know, increased not that long ago, and they're think almost twice what we have, but again, they're Dover, right? So they're not
Mhm.
us. So, I don't know. Maybe it's not worth a whole lot more discussion.
I mean, I would say we should leave it as is for now, but you know, I don't know what
Okay.
everybody else thinks.
I mean, everything is subject to coming back to it.
Yeah.
So let's see what other needle movers we have. But if there's not, I mean, if we're not all, jumping up, I mean, you can always come back to it.
Yeah.
Rhonda, what, you're the only one who hasn't popped in.
Oh, I don't care. Whatever. It is what it is.
All right. Let's
I mean, we could do it. I mean, we could do a reduction, but at the end of the day, it's really just trying to contribute. I mean, and if we even just took it down a little bit, if we took it down $100, I mean, it's an effort at bringing a percentage down, but we'd be better off, I think, if we wanted to have a 4 or 5% reduction. I mean, it's not necessarily great budgeting, but you can take 4% off of everything all the way down, and get to the same place.
Well, you know me, anything adds up. So whatever people think.
All right, well, let's move on to, we've done the assistant. Do we need to go through that again? Because that we already.
Well, so yeah, I think I'd like to just make a comment that I think I also made last year, which is just I still feel like having a larger amount of administrative support would make our lives as select board members easier. And I don't have, we've talked about it in the past. We have recently, we haven't had our current administrator for more than a year yet, but I just want people to know, like, there are times when I am nearing a breaking point, and I don't know that I can continue to be the chair of the committee, of the board, just because it does take an enormous amount of time, and a lot of it does still fall on select board members. So I would not be opposed to increasing the amount for the select board assistant, just in acknowledgement that it's really hard to function effectively as a town when we don't have enough administrative support. It just makes our meetings longer. There are times when something like the DV fiber thing, I'm like, yeah, if we had more time from people who are employed, by the town to require them to follow through on that, we could have been saving money because we would have already had our DV fiber set up, right? So that's my piece on that.
When we hired the assistant, I think we said it was going to be, now I forget the hours without looking back, but like 15 or 20 hours a month is what we were planning on. And, I think that's kind of where we've been. And, I know you have a, bigger job than me as far as the chair goes. But at this time, I'm not really for, upping the budget for that.
And would you be willing to be the chair?
No, because I full time too, so it's very hard.
Yeah.
As I've said many times, I appreciate you. Like you do a lot.
I'm not fishing for compliments here,
No, I
right?
know.
I'm just trying to say from a realistic perspective, I don't know that we as a town have enough time to do things as efficiently as they could and should and ought to be. I mean, we also, right, Karen spends a lot of time working on the grants in the road commissioner side. But there are other grants that we didn't go for because I needed to do something and Tom Fox needed to do something. And, in the end, it's like, well, guess we lost out on getting a planning and zoning grant. Oh, well. So, I don't know what the balance point is on that is I guess an ongoing issue. And I can try to bring some additional data to a future meeting that might help make the case more efficiently. So we can move on from this.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe we should move on and try to get just some things done, checked off the list so we can definitely feel like we made some progress tonight.
Yep. And I did do a little bit of analysis for how much had been spent on this. And the average at the time that I did it was that we were getting approximately 11 hours per week over the course of 19 weeks is how it worked out. So we were saying 15 to 20 was our expectation for that. So just to kind of, again, put that into a sense of scale. So we can move on to town clerk salary. And let's see. It looks like there was a minor increase made.
So it's flat to 26 was 27.5 and it was, which was, yes, was that minor increase there.
Yeah.
And the reason was there was a COLA rounding, it looks like. I don't have the arithmetic in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, hold on, 2,187.5, 3.2% plus
So this is another thing, again, I was looking at the compensation thing. And again, like if we were to figure this out as an hourly rate, I think it's pretty small. And I did have one person who emailed me asking about benefits for the town clerk. All of that to say again that, she's in the office how many hours a week? 8 to 3 on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and 12 to 3 on Thursday, which is how many hours?
25.
So 25 hours.
24. 24.
We say 24, okay. So if we say that's 24 hours at 27.50, what's the per hour rate on that?
If that's an annual 27,500, if that's annual, it's $529, $528.85, right? So $529 a week.
Okay. So divide that by 24 hours and it's $22 an hour. Not impossibly low, but lower than what we're paying our listers, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a job that is hard to, it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things involved in that. So
Yep. A lot of aggravation.
Yeah, and it's also the town clerk has a role that is particularly front end facing to the community, right? So town clerk pretty much knows everybody, and there's more to it than just hours. It's a real connection to the community.
yeah.
So are we staying flat then? And it's also an article.
No, that one is not. The treasurer has to be in a separate article. This
Oh,
one's
okay.
in the budget.
Is it in the budget? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we going to say flat to 26?
I would like to increase, but I know that in the past, I think Patty might have actually come to us at various times. I don't know.
Last year she did. She came to us and she had said that it has been flat for I think 3 years, and she wanted to know if she could get a cost of living increase. So she was at our meeting last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
and she did, and that was what we had. If I go back to the note, that's what we had in the note.
But the budget, okay, so the budget, yeah, went up slightly. Okay, gotcha. All right, I got the years correct there. I would suggest we try to put a COLA in there. I mean, again, it's not, 3%. I mean, I don't think I've seen the Social Security one yet, but
The Social Security is 2.8,
2.8. Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
went with last year.
Then it went all to your insurance.
Right.
Well,
Exactly, Rhonda. But
So
yeah.
you didn't get a cost of living.
So that's
Didn't
another
get-
$770. If I'm doing my math right, that would make it 28,270.
770, you said, right? The percentage.
2.8%. I used
Yeah.
your number.
Yeah, it's $770.
Yeah. 770.
A year. A year. Yeah, for the year.
So if we take last year, that's 770 plus last year is 28,270.
Let's run with that for now.
Assistant town clerk. We spent more in 24. I don't know where we are with.
We're not, yeah. Considering that we haven't spent it all in previous years, I would encourage us to leave it the same, but I would also encourage us to encourage Patty to make sure she has that coverage, because I know that some of the people she's relied on have other things going on in their life at the moment. And, it's nerve-wracking when when it's unexpectedly not open. She's, she,
Yeah, and I know she's just the people that she's been able to, who have been the assistant town clerks just for their own personal reasons have not been available to her.
right,
I'm
right.
sure if they could, they would. So hopefully it's just a timing issue.
Okay, what's the next one here?
Sorry, this is Lister wages regular.
Okay.
Actually, I should call this level fund.
So Lister wages regular is something last year.
So this is if we've got reappraisals coming. So I think we haven't, I don't know if we've gotten, that's kind of a department. We might want to hold off on the departmental request. I don't know what that may be.
So this is just, this is just their actual wages for the amount of time that they spend. And it feels like they have not been spending that much time.
Okay.
I mean, last year, there was $5,600 left over. We had increased their hourly rate. It doesn't look to me in the current year. I don't know that I'm sure they have the busier seasons as well at times, but I think I was sort of wondering if it was, this is like 1,000 hours of work at the rate that we changed it to 25 an hour. And if they're not putting 1,000 hours in, do we cut that back a little bit, even though we know there's a reappraisal coming, but the reappraisal cost of that, there's a reserve fund or something for that. So
yeah, well, if they, I don't know that I'm inclined to cut it, but if they don't use it, we're not billed for it, and then that becomes part of our, that helps with any surplus.
yeah, I think just that as we go through this process, right, I want to make sure that we're keeping to a minimum anything that we are padding unnecessarily, right? That's my realistic part, right?
Well, it was pretty close. It was only off $5,000.
Well, that's a quarter of it, isn't though? I mean, this $25,000.
20%, yeah.
What was it in prior years?
Doesn't the state have a guy come down and do the reappraisals?
There will be assistance from the state. It will be, I believe they're going to do a statistical reappraisal again. And there's separate funding to help pay for that consultant's time, I think. But yeah, that doesn't mean there's no work on our Lister's side of affairs.
No, I know that. Yeah, they get all the aggravation in the end. Because people, yeah.
They're the ones who are setting the value of your home, and they have to go through.
Yeah.
And when there is a reappraisal, more people will likely grieve their reappraisal cost.
Yeah, it's gonna get so we can't afford to live here anymore. That's what's gonna happen.
So do we want to trim a little bit from this, or do we want to leave it level funded?
I'm inclined to level fund it because they probably will put hours in if a reappraisal was coming.
I don't know how much they, like, again, if it's statistical, it's like a lot of that gets handled at the state level, and not that they won't, again, deal with the
No, but
fallout.
they're dealing with the community, and
Yeah, dealing with the fallout, like I
and
said.
that will just by its nature.
Okay. What's the next line?
Right there, over there. Planning and zoning
Commission.
admin.
Okay. Planning ZBA secretary. Okay. So we have a new person in that role, and in correlation with that, we adjusted the salary to be equivalent. That one had lagged in part because we just didn't do a review of the previous secretary, and then that person can't continue in it. So we're now at a $20 an hour rate. And those guys are talking about reviewing the town plan, which is going to take them some time. So if we have the current 1,500 and we divide that by 20, we have 75 hours for this person or this role. And like 6 hours a month.
Yeah, I think that's what the number was when we came up with the rate of pay. We
Yeah.
assumed that's about what it would be for hours.
I'm wondering if we could bump this to like 1,700 from 1,500, just to give us more wiggle room there.
Hold on one sec. And is that
So that works out to 7 hours a
based
month.
on hours? So how many hours would that does that
7, I think that's what I calculated.
of that 1,785 hours? 7 hours a month?
7 hours a month was what I was thinking. So
Is that reasonable?
I think so. It's a couple $100.
Okay.
That was 7 hours more? Is that what you said?
No, it was like from 6.25 hours to 7 hours.
Okay.
Not like it's,
EMD.
I'm gonna say let's level fund it again.
I agree.
Yeah, that's auditors. So this is interesting.
So the auditors, and I didn't reach out to the auditors to tell them that we're discussing once again eliminating the position. But I guess if that's what we're intending to do, we should just zero this out.
We don't know that it's going to work. I
would
would be inclined to leave it in here, and if we zero it out, we've got that 3,500 will offset something else that's bound to be over.
I
guess
hear
that-
you there. I hear you there, but that's not like the best practice as far as budgeting or accounting goes. But I hear you. If it doesn't get voted to um, forego the auditors, then yeah, we will need to
Come up,
have,
right.
have the funds there.
Yeah, I think we're just in one of those in between spots. So I think we just level fund it and just saying, um, to be voted on, voted, we'll just say town meeting, March 26. Okay,
Yep.
so this may end up being 0. Constable, ACO. I don't think that can go down considering how much time.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like it's not, I feel like it hasn't been raised in, I'm gonna guess, a decade. Um,
Have we
and
heard? Have we heard it all from Kyle lately? I haven't heard from him. So
yeah, he came to one of the most recent animal control committee for animal control meeting, and I reached out to him just this week about livestock in the road. Um, he attended a workshop for regional workshop for input on public safety that the governor held. So he went to that. Um, if we are looking at ordinance enforcement going forward, I just think that the amount of hours is going to be higher here, and I think that we should, as a town, consider the ACO being through Windham County, which, that cost of 2575 last year was the estimate for that. Still doesn't cover the other stuff, if you will, that we are hoping the constable will do, which is show up at things where there is a potential for conflict, um, be available for things like some parts of town meeting, be available, at, to some extent at the Halifax celebrations, that kind of stuff, right? So I guess I'll throw out a starting place to say, like, let's put this at 6,000 instead of 5,000, and have a budget where we can address the concerns that people had about, people said, oh, they didn't feel safe at town meeting when we had that conflict. And, again, incentive to make sure that we address those fears and concerns.
I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Again, for this section, all in, seems like these look like big numbers, but it's a 2% increase.
Increase, yeah.
Which is better than a 5%.
Yeah. Okay. And we're gonna,
Assistant treasurer.
yeah.
Who's that?
Well, Patty is supposed to appoint someone, but if she does not appoint someone, the select board can do so. And
Oh,
I do feel that there should be an assistant treasurer. It's another place that I'm worried about just coverage. So I know that question aside, which is not what we're going to do today, I think we should level fund it. But it's another one where I feel like we should do some follow up to say we need to make sure we've got backup. None of us should be a single point of failure. And that person can do very simple things like, you know, get the bank statement and reconcile it, separate from it being the treasurer. Just have a different set of eyes on stuff. Okay.
Okay, benefits.
Okay. Okay. I think we should at least leave this at where it is. And I would like to continue to encourage people to go to training, to go to events. The Economic Development Forum that I went to last year was beneficial. Town fair that is held by VLCT gives you an opportunity to see how other towns do stuff and commiserate, if nothing else. So I don't want to, and this particular year, all VLCT training online and all of that is all free. So I think this number is low. It used to be higher, but if we don't need it, we don't, I would say keep it at 500, but encourage people to do stuff. Health insurance, is that the next line? 6220. There is no health insurance for non.
Yeah, I think that's just sort of my question. Like, what the heck is this? That's more of a question for Patty.
So the health insurance for non-highway employees, there is none. Nobody else is eligible for benefits. That again, that was a question that I did receive from a member of the public, and what the last recollection that I had was that when the Affordable Care Act came into being, we were required to give health insurance or offer health insurance to anyone who was working more than 24 hours per week. And that at the time, nobody met that threshold.
How many hours, Edie?
I think it was 24 at that time. Now, whether that's still a thing, I would say, I don't know. But I will say once again that having the ability to offer health and health insurance and other benefits is important if we are hoping at some point to be more effective. I'm not sure the word that I want to use, I'm not sure is quite right. Yeah, anyway.
I mean, I think that would be terrific, but we just don't have the tax base for that.
no.
I'm all for giving everybody as much health care as humanly possible, but we just don't have the tax base until we get more businesses in town.
Well, and let's not say that when we get businesses in town, magically we have more tax base, because they are taxed at exactly the same rate that everybody else is.
But that's tax revenue that we're not currently getting.
We don't get tax revenue from, if you have a business on your property in Halifax, we get 0 extra tax dollars. You are.
Oh yeah, no. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm like, put a Starbucks on the corner.
It would still get taxed.
Although I'd rather not. Yeah.
Me too, actually.
Okay, what is our next line?
Okay, where are we over here? That's getting the retirement benefits. So that's a fixed number.
Yes, so that is a percentage of the
town clerk's salary. So that should be. Oh, sorry, that's storm warning. That was my phone. Hold on. So that should be 7%. So the town clerk salary, let me just link it, is that the 28,270?
Yes.
Okay, so if that's the 28,270, then this should equal this times 0.0725. Is that right?
Yep. 2050.
8,270, 7.25%. That did not work. Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's something not right.
Something right. Hold on. Something ain't right.
It's 2050.
Yeah, what did you get?
2050.
You got 2050. 28,270 times 7.25%. Yep. Why didn't that work? Hold on.
So I think you might have been in a wrong.
That's 11 times 0.0725. Am I not getting am I getting a non-calculate? Well, let's just do the math. 2050.
It's 2049.575, but
Yeah, that's exactly what I got. Now I'm not getting this to come in at all. Hold on. Why is this?
but that's 2050.
It should be 2050. Whoops, I'm in the wrong spot. That's why. Hold on. This one should be. This is acting up. See, it's making changes in the wrong.
You've got it keyed to the S column instead of the R column. That's why, Karen.
Yeah, but it keeps going to that column. It was. Hold on. Come on. See, where I'm putting, there's something wrong with the cursor. Every time I try to, the cursor's acting funky. Hold on. Let me get out of here. Do it again. It's not letting me. It's acting up. Not letting me copy what I'm doing here. Yeah, it's not letting me. Hold on. This is bad. Hold on. I don't know if you can see what's happening, but it's not letting me work
in that column. I've had that occasionally lately too with Excel, and I don't know what it is, but it is
offsetting this so that
It's like it doesn't like it the way you're doing it.
yeah.
Like
So
it
I'm
won't
just going to
let
make
Is
that
it,
0. Hold on, I'm going to make that 0.
Karen, is it because it doesn't recognize the raise yet?
No, it's just literally where I'm putting my cursor, it's putting it one row to the right. So hold on. So let me copy this. There. Oops. See. Wait, hold on. I am going to do the magic thing. I'm going to get out. Shut it off. And then I'm going to go back in. Okay. What was our magic number? 250?
Yep.
25.
There we go. Done. Not sure what happened, but so we're gonna do 7% of town clerk salary.
Second
Use
quarter.
a July 26 rate estimate. Okay. So actually we did a 7.25%.
Correct.
Okay, using July 26 rate. I don't know if that's right.
When do we get the rate?
Ask Patty. I don't know when we get that.
That note must look new because we must have it for July next year already.
Yeah, it's weird that that wasn't in green. Let me put that. Let me put this in yellow, and I'll just find out from Patty when that comes in. Whoops. All right, sorry about that. Now, all of these things, the Medicare FICA, there's a wage amount that I work on with Patty. Now, the difference here now is this number, which is the Child Care Tax Act. And I know we talked to the road crew about that. Edie, do you have notes on that, what this number should be?
We set it to that they will be paying 0.11% and the town will be paying 0.33%. I know that there was some people who expressed unhappiness about that, and there was some question about could we do that, and I'm like, I believe as an employer that was the amount we could allow is 25%, and we voted to do that.
Yeah, no.
Not necessarily inclined to change it.
No.
Childcare is difficult to get, and everybody,
well, it looks like I put this comment in during that conversation.
Yeah, from last year. Yep. And the only thing,
this 1630 looks like it's flat to last year. I'm going to make it yellow just to make sure that it calculates based on whatever the.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's got a link to other cells that would.
Yeah, it's just that was just flat to last year. So let me just talk to Patty about that, and we'll have a conversation and come back.
Yeah.
For now, let me make that green. Okay. All right. Now, repairs and maintenance. So this is the freaking copy machine. Pardon my French. And this is level to last year, but if you look at the select board orders, we've got an invoice for 840 some odd dollars because we made a bunch of color copies. So the fee is like a per page, it's a meter. It's done via a meter versus a, kind of service contract. So I don't know how often we pay this bill.
It says contract base rate charge for the 11/17/2025 to the 2/16/2026.
Oh, so it's quarterly then.
But that first one, well, that's the contract rate. That's actually zero. The contract overage charge is for 8/17/2025 to 11/26/2025. So September, October, November. So it's like, again, quarterly.
Okay. Well, maybe it's okay.
So I think with this one though, what we need to understand is what is that contract base rate, and then we have to maybe factor in some extra.
Okay, so let me put a note here for Patty because I never saw that contract. I came back and we had this new machine, so Patty must have the contract. Somebody must have the contract.
You should definitely probably see all the information on that.
Yes. So I'm just gonna say ask Patty what the contract terms are, okay? Contract terms are, and then I'm gonna say CSB order number 11 for 843.48 invoice. Okay, is that all right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, this looks like telephone internet.
Well, if you go with DB fiber, that's gonna is that for the town office or the town garage? Is that just,
So
This
that,
is town office, right?
Yeah, and our invoice for the town office in the current select board order is $90.
oh, okay.
So
well,
that would
hang
be
on,
90 times 12 then, right?
Yep.
no, hang on, that's EMD one, isn't it?
Uh,
Oh,
The $90 is, 6262, which is
oh,
what we,
because I think
so,
the
in
town
terms of the
office,
town office, the DV fiber is free because we host, equipment,
substation. Yeah.
host equipment there, but we still have consolidated phone charges,
correct.
which, again, the question about, we have two phone lines in the town office.
Oh,
Could DV fiber take those on for $20 a month instead of the, I can't tell from this bill what's what, because something got applied the highway, the wrong.
Yeah, they charged. This was not a town error. I don't know how they did it. Patty is going to start stapling the check with the actual stub because they just misapplied the consolidated bill for the highway to the town account and vice versa. So there's some representative is sending some kind of a request. They've got to move numbers from accounts. So the number that she put on the order, which is $200, is what's due. So she did the math. But what they did is they applied the highway number. The payment received of the 348, I think, was supposed to be the highway instead of the 199 or something. So anyway, that doesn't help us with this particular question.
so she's got two different consolidated and DB fiber in
So,
the town office?
so she has her phone service, I believe, is still with Consolidated.
That's
And
right.
again, this is a bad, thing to have in front of us. Is the order for this time that has that, that math and that confusion error. So the question here is, what is our monthly phone bill? Because for 6251, there should be no internet, and we should already have that savings happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so all we need to kind of understand is what is 12 months of a phone bill expected to be. And that assumes we stick with Consolidated and whatever plans we have as a municipality.
Yeah, we got to get the information to know. on the phone.
Yeah, so I put that in as just as a question here to ask what our monthly phone bill for the town office is. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Do
Next
we,
line.
do we have to have two companies? I mean, two different
Well, it'd be
companies?
nice. It would be nice if we could get DV Fiber, like you said, to swap the phones over to them. I think we talked about this one other time, and the concern was if we could stay with the same phone numbers. Was that one of the things we had
No,
talked about?
you
You
can port
can.
the phone numbers. I think the bigger question is, can they handle like the two lines, right? Because the listers have a different phone number.
Right.
And so I don't know how they can deal with that. And that would be the question, the technical question to DV Fiber. Because theirs, is like $19.99 a month or something for phone.
Mm-hmm.
And Consolidated is still a phone
Through the roof.
company, still a phone company making a profit on providing phone service.
Right.
Computer's doing this again. Sorry, I gotta get back out.
Oh my God.
I don't get it.
It does.
Like I said, I've had that same problem and it's just maddening.
Never happened to me before.
Probably a new feature from Microsoft.
Maybe. All right. So anyway, so we'll ask what the phone bill is. So the next line is dues and subscriptions.
So this one, I have not seen anything that has VLCT new annual dues. I haven't seen anything from Wyndham Regional Commission about whether their dues are going up. I'm going to ask, since Stephen is on the call, if you've had any information from Wyndham Regional Commission about budget.
I I don't have it in my head. I think I have to look for it, and there'll also be the subscription for Wyndham Solid Waste.
Okay,
So
And
I
think
I can
Patty,
I can chase those up.
thank you.
I
And thank you very much, Stephen. One
And
of the
I-
things I'm just noting is it's 7:43. And I'm wondering how much more time we want to give this exercise. And, as we start to bump into things like, oh, we just have to ask questions on the last 3 or 4 things. Feels like we're not making as much headway because, again, with some stuff we're waiting for information on. So what do people want to do here? This is a fairly lengthy section with quite a few more numbers to do, but
I mean, we could still try a few more, see how it goes. Maybe we'll keep bumping into things, but
okay,
if we
let's
could
call it
make a
quits
little
at
bit
8.
more headway.
Let's call it quits at 8 though, because we do have other stuff to do. Okay.
ads and legal notices.
Hmm.
That might go down a little bit. We spent a lot of money in prior years. We were over budget by $700 or so. I think because we had more kind of personnel ads.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we have things going on like ordinances, for example, those we're going to have to put notices in the paper. Trying to think what else. Tax sales, all of that.
But we do those. The only thing that would be
That's going in
different is if
another
we had, the ordinance is different, but there's always tax sales. There's always kind of grants. There's always
Yeah.
we got to get invitations to bid. Those are kind of the same all the time.
Yeah. Well, and it looks like if there is 1315 the
Oh,
how much
sorry, I lost the top. Hold on, I
yeah,
lost the top.
that's a balance. Okay, that's a balance. All right. I was thinking that was okay.
am I here? Ads. Okay, that's where we are. Right
Mhm.
there.
I wouldn't trim it much, I guess is what I'm thinking, just because, yeah, I don't know how much stuff we'll have.
You want to call it 1,200?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. And then I'm going to say reduced. That can be green. This was already a reduction, I guess, from a prior period.
That paper isn't going to last forever. Let's put it back to 2000.
Whoop, that went down. That should have gone up.
No, it went up. It went up 11%.
Oh, it went up 11%. Sorry, it did. Yeah, it went up. Okay. What do we got here?
Susan, something about
Listers, supplies, and mileage. Last year, looks like we just put the number in.
I don't think that's going to change much.
So should we just level fund?
Yeah, it's got the subscription. It's $700 right there. And again, don't see a lot of mileage charges from them or anything.
These are not budgeted items.
Okay.
Comes away. Yeah, we've got what is this?
Select board supplies and mileage. So we were at 750. So if people go, if you do drive to a workshop or something like that, you should be claiming your expenses. At least you shouldn't be spending money out of your pocket to do the select board job. And like occasionally I bought some stamps for the Whitneyville Road thing, $12 or whatever. I haven't put the invoice in, but it's that kind of thing. If we need to mail something, certified mail, then we should have some money for that kind of stuff. It looks like we've already spent a reasonable amount of this.
Which line is it? I'm sorry, I can't see
I'm
where
sorry,
the cursor.
it's this line right here.
Okay.
6260 on the book. So back in 2024, that was at 2000. And we already cut it last year.
So that's the line.
We cut it down to 1,000, and then we cut it in 26 to 750. I don't think I would cut it anymore. I think
Just leave it.
yeah.
So was that 150? So keeping it the same, we'll make that for 26. Green. What do we got here? Oh, this I think we That I have to talk to Patty about because I think we were doing something with account numbers. So we didn't use it last year.
think we,
With the
We
computer and
moved it
software.
somewhere. Yeah, we changed the account number, so that I think we can ignore for now.
well, we might need new computers.
Yeah, but it's not that row anymore. I'm saying that row might
I'm
be
just
somewhere
saying, let's not forget that though.
else.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, we might. Let's see if we can get down to this line, to line
Okay.
44.
So have we heard anything from any of the departments as to whether they need money?
I haven't chased them down.
Okay. So let's leave that 750 from last year. The next one is where we had DV fiber. It looks like, is that the highway department phone?
Yeah, this is what we were talking about.
Okay. Well,
What number are we on?
Yeah,
Sorry,
think we're on-
we're
sorry, I
right
think
there.
we're on EOC emergency supplies and expenses 62.
oh, okay. Thank you.
6262. Is this the one that we're gonna way overspend this year? Because we have all kinds of generator equipment. And this is the one where we didn't get a budget last year and we really crapped up and cut it way back. And now we've got like expenses that we're going to be way over on this. And then that's where we're putting the DV fiber at the fire department, $90 a month.
Yeah, because last year we had 9,000 of generator expenses.
9,000, you say?
Yep.
Oh, ouch.
Yep. They're old. And I still haven't talked to them about the school one either.
Okay. So
Let's bump it up to 8,000. I mean, I just feel like all the generators.
I think initially this happened because we were not sure, like we didn't realize the select board was responsible for the maintenance of those generators.
I think that's
So
right.
we definitely are way over. So yeah, I don't
Sorry,
want
what
to.
did you want to make this? You wanted to
I
make
think
it 8,000?
that's what Edie said. Yeah, I mean we're definitely going to have to increase it, knowing that we are going to have those expenses down the road.
Yeah.
As to what number, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's kind of a guessing game at this point.
Okay, so what I said was we have, assuming at some point we get DV fiber at $90 a month, and then fiscal 27, including costs related to fire department garage and school generators, and then TBC just to be confirmed.
Yeah. And the $90 a month where they're already set at the EOC at the fire department.
Yeah.
Fire.
So do we need that 2,000?
They're already getting $90 a month. If that's what that was referring to, then we should keep that.
Yeah. So I don't know where we got the 2,000 for 26, but it was DV fiber.
So I think it was like $1,000 plus $1,000 again.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So
that
I think
2,000, I'm just saying that 2,000 is in here plus another 6 for,
yeah. And I have to say, I'm surprised that our 4 months to date, maybe it just all fell in last fiscal year that we spent all that. I mean, yeah. like to square that away with Paul as the EMD. He should be giving us this number. We shouldn't have to make it up ourselves so much. Okay, let's leave it at that. And again, with everything else, we'll come back to it. So
Next one is lease agreement. So now this
looks like that's where the copier is, town
Yeah.
copier machine.
So I don't know what that is.
It's not the copier?
I was going to say, I almost think that I recall that being the copier.
But it
Yeah,
says,
so we've got two, all I'm saying is we've got two contract items for the copier. So there's the lease payment,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was up here, we had that overage, that's in the select board order now, which is, whatever it is, overage for color copies and stuff like that. So we just want to make sure we're getting the right numbers in the right lines. So I'll check with Patty. So we'll just leave that there, won't change it. Broadband committee, we don't have one, or do we?
nope, they've been disbanded.
Okay, so that line item will go away. And this one is Conservation Commission expenses. That seems to have gone away. And constable expenses.
Commission hasn't gone away. It's just keeping to no expenses.
Yep, so that's gone away. And then the next one is constable expenses. We got him, and it wasn't really the Kevlar, it was just the mileage, and then he does annually in June. He sometimes has to transport animals places. I don't know.
Leave it at 500? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
So leave it at 500?
yeah.
Okay.
He needs more safety equipment. We'll have to ask him to give us cost estimates again, because what we got last time wasn't as planned.
It was just the shell, not the actual Kevlar part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Streetlights.
Street lights. Well, we can stop here and go because it's 8:00.
Let's stop.
So it's up to you guys.
Let's stop.
Yeah,
Okay.
stop.
Oh, but we got so much more to do.
We do, but
We're
we
chipping
have.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chip.
I do think it's this process takes quite a while. So let me just make a note for my minutes. 6250.
Yeah, and a bunch of this stuff that we have to get through, things like, the insurance, that they're going to tell us what it is. Utilities is different. Some of this stuff, we don't actually have that many line items to fuss with because I still have to build in the reserve funds.
Yeah.
So we've got WSMD, we've got our recycling. So, okay.
All right. Do you think we might want to consider another meeting somewhere in December if people want it to be done by the end of December and we've only got one other regular meeting?
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Yeah, I agree.
As much as I want to.
Yeah.
All
right.
Hopefully it's in person so we can have pizza again.
Yeah, the only night I can't do it, other than like random holidays that everybody else are probably the same, I think is December 9th, because I've got to be in Connecticut for a bunch of doctor appointments.
Yeah. Okay, and I know there's a committee for animal control meeting at 6:00 this Friday at the 5th at 6 p.m. In the town office. So that is a since we don't have the calendar here, I do know that's on the docket too. Do we want to try to set something for next week?
Monday the 8th, maybe?
I can, yeah, like I said, the 9th is the only day I'm definitely out.
Sounds good.
8th?
Yep. 6 o'clock.
Works for me.
Yep.
Sweet, sweet. There's no storms, is there?
Right. 12:30 to 6 p.m. is going to be next budget
Budget.
special meeting. Okay.
Okay. All right. So on to other agenda items. Karen, if you want to stop sharing.
I will.
Okay.
Do that.
Oh, my back.
All right. Everybody take a stretch break. Go off camera if you need to. What else is next on the agenda here? Oh,
Hearing of visitors, correspondence.
okay. Hearing of visitors. Go back to Stephen and to Nancy. Anything at this point?
No, I'm all set. Thank you. I'll get I think I've got the Wyndham solid waste number. I'll email it to you, and I'll get the Wyndham regional subscription cost.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yep. Nancy,
Good
anything
night.
else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, and thank you, and have a good rest of the night.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Too. Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy some winter sports tomorrow.
Yeah, shoveling.
Called snow shoveling.
Yeah.
That's right.
Shovel to play ratio has to be right, guys. So be advised.
Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Hey, good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
On correspondence, I'm going to note that I got an email today from the Brattleboro Development BDCC Credit Corporation that there's going to be a Wyndham Leadership Series luncheon on Monday, December 22nd from 11:30 to 1 p.m. at the Brattleboro Retreat. The person who is speaking is the executive director of the Vermont Futures Project. His name is Kevin Chu, and he will present Vermont's futures numbers, narrative, and what comes next. So he's looking at the state's economic landscape, organizational planning, and community strategy. Does any member of the board wish me to forward this to them?
When did you say it was?
December 22nd.
I'm
Yeah.
probably not going to be here.
I have an appointment.
You can forward it, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll just forward it to Randy then. Okay, I have an appointment at the DMV and the other side of the state that day. Okay, then let me just look quickly at my email again. If there's anything else I had lagged.
Whoops.
No, I don't see anything else. Okay.
So kind of a last minute thing. I wanted to add that I forgot which day it was, but one day last week I went to Clark Road and the vehicle is moved.
Yay.
Some more stuff looks like it's moved. The motorcycle's still there, but it looks like it's back further. I don't have the picture to compare it to, but it definitely looks a lot better. Looks really good, actually.
So
Okay.
are we done with that part? Can we sign that? Are we kind of signed off, you think?
I think so, as long as it stays good.
We'll find out, I suppose, after plowing this storm.
Right.
Randy, what day did you do the second visit?
I forget. It was either Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday of last week.
After
It was
Thanksgiving?
like, all right, hold on, let me get the calendar out.
Last
It-
Thursday was Thanksgiving.
so it wasn't Thursday.
Yeah.
It was actually, you know what? It was Saturday. It was
Okay.
Saturday. So 3 days ago.
Okay.
I was at Brattleboro, so I popped up there.
All right. So would you agree that I should write a letter saying, thank you, this looks better?
You can. You can. I have spoken with him.
Okay.
Um, but if you want to, there's actually one other thing.
Yeah.
So I did get a phone call that there was a mailbox knocked over, a new mailbox of his, and I called the plow truck driver, who was Keith, and asked him about it, and he said there's for sure no way he hit the mailbox, and he actually took pictures of it this morning and sent it to me. And you can see clearly where the plow line was today and where the plow line was yesterday. There's no way the plow got over far enough to hit the mailboxes. It was a mailbox in the middle of a group of mailboxes that got knocked over, and a couple others damaged, but in the middle. So if the plow hit it, they would have all been cleaned out for sure.
There were so many cars the other day, actually coming back the day after Thanksgiving, Friday, really bad accidents up on Hogback, sort of all over the place. I wonder if could a car have just sort of skidded and kept going, sort of,
It certainly could have been that. It could have been the mail driver with their door. Maybe their door was open. They backed up. I'm not sure. Could have been kids. Hate
Yeah.
to say that, but it could have been.
Okay.
So I did speak with him about that.
All right. Thanks for talking to him.
Mhm.
All right. Let me get ready to share my screen for our minutes then. The next thing. Okay, screen sharing for this. So this was the November 18th minutes. I did do a review of them, and so I gave you all copies of my notes. So that's what we're looking at here. So first thing I did was take the word draft off. The next thing I did was add that Rhonda was remote at that meeting. Stephanie did make it in at some point. There was a flash of discussion about Karen, Karin. We were wondering if it was Karen Larkin. I do not know if that person was ever admitted or came into the meeting. Does anybody else have a recollection of that?
Not really. I just remember seeing the name Karin kind of flash up on the screen, but then I don't.
Yeah.
I almost recall saying that we were hoping they would introduce themselves more because we didn't want to invite somebody in that was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't know that this person actually attended. I'm going to take this off.
Yeah, because if they attended, I don't recall that name was on the screen very much.
No.
Or very long. So they may have just kind of come in and come out. So it's possible they didn't stay.
Or it's possible that they never got admitted is my feeling.
Right.
Okay.
Wrong one.
We had our budget goals, resilience and realistic. Realistic sustainability, 1% option tax for short-term rentals. Stability and efficiency was what Randy said. So that's where we can. And Rhonda's avoiding stagnation. We talked about the starting numbers. We amended them on the floor. And we covered a deficit. showed a current but not a final deficit for FY25. I wanted to make sure that was in there. Then we put in the operating expenses, select board expenses, highway net expenses, and the operational revenue, which left the deficit of this amount.
Again, it was remember, part of what was happening there, and I don't know what the best way to put it here is, the deficit wasn't because expenses per se, per line item, something was over budget. It was a timing difference on a couple of weeks in fiscal years. So when a bill was paid for and when money came in related to the work on Pike and Vaughan roads.
So I think that we cover that down here in this paragraph.
Yeah, somewhere it said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So we talked about some of the things that went over.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So this is something, again, just the I think ultimately I want to try to avoid like this level of detail by and large when we're just kind of setting the stage here. This was a lot of discussion, but it's there, so I'm going to leave it in. But it's the kind of thing where I'm like,
well, if we're going to leave that in, where it says including $82,000 for the garage roof against a $6,500 budget, the $6,500 was not really a budget for the roof. That was some leftover building maintenance fund.
Yeah.
Okay, historic. Actually, let me get out of the. Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
And the sand costs being over budget and the excavator expenses, 38,000. I'm gonna have to go back and look. Those numbers aren't jumping out at me as something I remember. I'm sure it was discussed.
Yeah, I think this 19,792. I'm not sure the exact number, but I do remember that the sand was over budget that year.
Yeah,
And
no,
there was something brought up about it in that meeting.
yeah. So there's a negative. So sand.
I think we had an emergency meeting and said, go ahead and buy more sand.
I think we did.
20,000.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, that was the 19. And what was the other number? Sorry, that was the 19,792.
38,000.
For the excavator.
For the excavator expense. All right, let me just look at the excavator. Yeah, so
But again, that would have been the old excavator.
Right.
right. It doesn't, there aren't any notes here as to what that 38,000 expense was for. I'm going to make it yellow and ask.
Well,
Patty.
in terms of the minutes, do we want to just take this piece out if we're not comfortable with it? When I was reviewing the recording, and I don't know how, I didn't find a lot of number questions.
Yeah, see, I don't remember that 38,000. I mean, it's a good
let's
question.
just take it out. Let's just take it out of the minutes.
Yeah.
And I'll just put, and, actually I'll just say, let's put it there. Or I could say, and other and as examples, maybe that's what we can put.
Yeah, really the biggest thing that flipped it one way or the other is the FEMA. That's really the number. Now, all this other stuff does not really kind of tell the story about what that deficit is. That deficit is really a function of timing.
Yeah.
So we had all those payments that came in, and one of them came in early and goofed us up.
Yes, by like 3 weeks.
Okay. I don't know if there's a way to emphasize this, but this whole paragraph, the FEMA funding for Pike and Vaughan Road received 3 weeks early on June 6th, was recorded on a cash basis. I mean, it wasn't really received 3 weeks early. It was received when the heck it was.
It was early. No. It was early. And this is why we have to be so careful in our budgeting, because we anticipated that we would receive it.
Back in December of the prior year. Like,
Correct.
again, we can't know when the federal government is actually going to release payment. So
Correct,
I don't.
but you're not letting me finish. You're not letting me finish.
That's true.
What we should not be doing, and we'll have a bigger conversation when everything is, when we've got when I have all the grants and all the reserve funds. What we did was anticipated when we thought we would receive it, and then we put budgets around things in anticipation of getting money in a fiscal year, because the expenses and when the money came in were different. The cash basis numbers were out of whack. So up the paragraph up above that says the deficit was driven by several factors, it wasn't. The deficit was driven by when that money came in, because there's $100,000 surplus, you put the FEMA money in, all of a sudden it's an $83,000 deficit. Okay. So that was the back and forth that I did. So the deficit is not driven by these factors. I would say the deficit, it's basically the current calculation of the deficit. I don't know what the deficit is yet. I haven't gone through all the accounting. That's just what's showing on this tab. Right.
So how do we change this line? If I changed it from driven to influenced by several factors?
I would say the deficit included.
Okay.
I would just say it included items such as.
Okay.
But that FEMA paragraph needs to be up at the end of town operations reported, because that's what was driving. That's where the 83 is material.
So you want this moved up above?
Yes, because I wouldn't have talked about the 83 without talking about Pike and Vaughan Roads and the timing.
I suspect she did it in kind of a chronological order, but that's fine. We can move it up here and then it's covered and we can take it off down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would just move it. Yeah.
Okay. Then I added this, that we put the tracker on the board to just say, here were some of the things we wanted to make sure we circle back to. Highway, then we went into the highway needle movers and beyond.
Before we get to the highway needle movers, I did have a conversation on refurbishing the grader and kind of where it is, where it's happening, and they should be coming by at some point. I have
Friday.
The date.
I think it's the Friday the 4th.
I think it is too. I think the grader's coming. Oops, I have to. Oh shoot! Now I don't have my notes here. It's not in my calendar. But anyway, the guy's coming out to give us the estimate. So hopefully the number that we put in the budget, which I think was 200, is going to be in the range. I still think it's possible, because he said it would be high 2s, low 3s based on other machines he's looked at that are older and in worse shape than ours. So kind of hold that thought. But we do have an appointment, and they're going to need the machine for like 4 hours. But it's happening in the next week or so.
Okay.
So we should get a number that we can use in the budget, because I told him we had to have a number for the budget.
And
Okay.
Keith is heavily involved in that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they can't come unless Keith is there. So when I scheduled it with Mike, I had to make sure Keith was going to be there.
Yep. Yeah.
I put it in my calendar because I was driving.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Back to meeting minute review. All right, needle movers and beyond. I fixed this. It wasn't the gravel bid that was 155,000. It was the highway order, but that the vendor had initially submitted multiple invoices with incorrect amounts. I said Fournier worked with them to fix the issue, part of which was due to them being hacked because she had not put that in there. And I think that's important for us to understand. And then I asked him to confirm that the company delivered the proper quantity of gravel as requested and that we did not go over budget, and he confirmed that. So then we go into, for gravel to reduce costs, Pike suggested not purchasing gravel for 20 miles of road.
And then I think where it says the next paragraph, Christopherson, and then down below that, Stephen Chait, the Stephen Chait paragraph should be under the for gravel Pike suggested paragraph.
Okay, so you want this moved up?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I put the bridge projects discussion in here, or I made a few changes on that. All right, then we went into the sand budget, 7% of the highway budget, with the most recent winter sand bid at this cost. For FY27, we added 500 cubic yards. And last year we needed to order more than planned and budgeted. This budget line went up nominally. The salt budget is in here. Conferences and training budget was reduced. We talked about the grader. We talked about listening sessions and said no. January, I added that January can be for additional revisions because you did speak to that. Okay, then we went into Whitneyville Road intersection reconfiguration. I added select board members, town council. This is the right way to spell town council, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, access points to Brook. I put this in, a long discussion ensued, whether we were moving it or making a new cut through or just widening the intersection. I summarized and said, we agreed that the plan is to make it safe within the existing right of way, yet requiring no road reclassification. And then I said Friday that a subset of the board and Mike will remeasure and discuss on site. Put in Wayne's concerns, and that he gave us some of the history with the sign there since around 2004. I updated the firm stuff a little bit. There is still supposed to be a meeting, but they said it would be within 30 days and I still haven't heard about it. Oh, well. On the hearing of visitors with Jeffrey Glazer, Karen, I went and said that because we were like individual feet being mentioned, I just said this means only a few feet of Glazer's property falls within the town property. Is that okay? Rather than
it's 34. It's 34, but whatever you think is best.
Well, yeah, later you were discussing with him about changing it, and I just thought,
no. He believes that the road should be measured. All distances should be measured from the corner where Wheeler and Hanson meet, as opposed to the halfway point on Hanson, which would incorporate the right of way, and that's how Mike measured it. And I'm 99% sure that's exactly what Bob Fisher told us to do, because you measure that length of the road from the center of the intersection of the road it intersects into.
So one of the challenges that I had, because again, he came back multiple times, right? He didn't just have one conversation. He came back later. I want to try to get the minutes to be the gist of what happened.
Of course. Yeah, yeah. You can say a few feet. You can say a few feet, but you also then went to say that there was some discussion about what was right and wrong, and I think we're pretty clear on what's right.
Okay. I think the sum of it, the action, the one to walk away, is that you will confirm with the attorney that the measurements were taken correctly,
Yes.
and that you was advised to not start digging. Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. PASIF renewal. I clarified this because I did do it last year. And this year I didn't because I didn't get it early enough. And there's still stuff to work on to update this. And I think that's on my task list now. Let's see. Whitneyville road notice. I sent property stuff and the communication was on the website. Just clarified that this part was seconded by Mark Johnny. And then this is something I have to go back and tell Emily. She inadvertently posted that on the secretary Gmail channel in YouTube. Like, remember we had to do a whole bunch of cleanup on that once upon a time. So I just need her to clean it off the old one because I put it back on the correct one. Okay, do I have a motion to approve these?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes
As amended?
as amended. Yep.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye by saying your last name.
Pike, aye.
Johnny, aye.
Christopherson, aye.
Ashcraft, aye.
Edwards, aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, let's go to the 24th. I will open that up. I don't know if it will come up without me opening. Nope. You guys are not seeing that new one, right?
No.
Stop sharing and share the new screen. Okay, so this was our budget meeting. I did write these minutes. I'm going to take the word draft off.
I read through this and they were good. There was a couple little things I saw, but now I got to find them.
Okay, I'm going to change this one here. Two implications of this are that one, the board was in general agreement and the board might consider removing. Okay.
Down on the key points included the $10,000 jump. Anir noted that he had very recently elected their board, been elected to, should be.
Yep, thank you. Get this into single line. There we go. Sorry about that. think here the board intends to write another separate article.
Yep.
The town, it should be the town warning, actually, not the town report.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Full sentence.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes from November 24th as amended.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I'm
Whoops.
gonna go with Markajani. You guys were close.
Sorry, Rhonda.
I think one more thing I'm gonna do actually is take this part of the URL out. That is not necessarily recording. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor say aye by saying your last name, please.
Pike, aye.
Markajani, aye.
I got you both.
Thank you.
Ashcraft, aye.
Okay, and Edwards, aye. So motion carries 5-0 again. Okay. Let's see. Select board order is the last thing to discuss. So again, because we are doing this under a local incident, we did get a copy of the order electronically from Patty. We have already discussed in brief that we have copier usage. And like that's $843. We do have an invoice from Batchelder Associates for audit services that the service description says it covers the June 30th, 2023 and 2024 review and reconciliations. The balance on that is $5,300. I have done some looking on auditors in the past week as well, and I will likely forward some comments and thoughts to Karen as a starting point, and then we can decide if that is worthy of a call out when we discuss budget at the next special budget meeting, or if it's worthy of a call out in our next regular meeting. We have in here the consolidated bill, which again, we've already spoken a little bit to the fact that that is confused this time due to payments being made in the wrong space by consolidated. We've got our internet connection for the fire company and that backup emergency operations center. We have select board assistant, town clerk salary, and treasurer salary amounts on here. We have Green Mountain Power streetlights, which are at 130. We have the Southwest New Hampshire District Fire Mutual Assessment, which we are lining out. Is that correct?
That's correct. That doesn't need to get paid until April 2026 by
Okay.
invoice.
Okay.
When that comes out.
Okay, and then we have the LCT employee
Unemployment insurance.
Okay, res and benefits. I don't know what res means, but well, yes. Okay. So with that amount lined out, what is our total order going to be?
$11,292.23.
Okay. Thank you for that, Randy. So tomorrow I will email Patty after this meeting, immediately after this meeting, and tell her that we wish to have that removed. And then as I mentioned, I'm going to be taking a trip to the Brattleboro area tomorrow morning, if all goes well, and I'm not totally socked in here. So I will sign it. I believe we should still try to get 3 signatures, even though we know that we were operating under a little bit of duress here. So if anybody else can stop in and sign, she is planning to make that payment, and also do payroll for the highway orders, which was just payroll this time. I did have some questions and talked to Patty about those, and I think we will try to pursue some consistency on that front jointly. Not tomorrow, not before this payroll, but try to get some better clarity on how to process some of the more complicated weeks of timesheets, because there were some variations in how those were filled out last week that I wasn't sure how to interpret. So with that,
And I'll be there tomorrow. I can sign.
thank you.
What time is the office open tomorrow? Do you
So
know?
I think the official hours are 12 to 3, but Patty usually uses the morning to do the treasury work.
Okay. I will try to get over there. I have a very busy morning.
Randy,
I
I
will
can
try to
go if you want. That's up to you.
If you can, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
But
I
if
can
you
go.
can't, let
I'll
me
go.
know and I'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
I know it's
Take,
close, but I
No,
have a lot.
I'll go.
And if you guys
yes,
can,
Randy,
I can.
take the rest. Take the yes, Randy. All right, guys. Okay, so I think the motion to adjourn is the last thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
Okay.
Eight
All those
fifty-eight.
in favor, say aye.
I
Aye, Marcagiani. Aye.
Aye, Edward.
For
All right.
Uh-oh. Whoops. I don't know.
Who
Still there. All right. Motion carries 5-0.
who seconded?
Randy and I did.
Oh, I heard Pike's voice, so I put Ashcraft in.
But that's my Randy. No problem. Perfect.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for your flexibility on this. I think one of the things that's a little bit challenging about reading this local incident is to know, like, how much of an incident is an incident, right?
Yeah.
And so I was, in my earlier, preparatory discussion for email, when I said, hey, there's a storm coming and we shouldn't expect to have Mike here. I was hoping to avoid this, but nature's going to do what's nature's going to do. And we have to make our best guess as to whether this was the right way to approach it. I think that VLCT is always going to err on the side of saying you should be as open as you possibly can to the public. But again, we're not just putting ourselves in harm's way and in the way of the plows when the timing of these storms doesn't agree for us. So hopefully we won't have a lot of concerns or pushback about that. But just to say, if we can get even one person in, if somebody's comfortable going in and getting it started there, but that would work in some circumstances as well. So
yeah, I agree with you, Edie. And up until this morning, I was planning on doing just that. And I have a pretty big vehicle, but if we were going to get the amount of snow we were going to be getting at over an inch an hour for several hours, up until about 6, and I thought, well, I don't know if I can get back in my driveway.
Right.
So that's why I was like, that's probably a bridge too far.
Yeah, and so the serious bodily injury, I'm like, it is still right, is still the case. Like I'm always thinking like, oh, I can always snowshoe down or walk down. Well, that's not necessarily safe, right, to do that in the nighttime, while there's plows actively on the road. So all of that to say, I do want to at some point make sure that everybody on the board feels comfortable starting the meeting, so that we can handle these situations if they come up again. Thank you so much, and I hope everybody has
All
a
right.
great evening.
Well,
Good
thanks
night,
for
everybody.
scrambling around today, you guys. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
All right,
Yep.
everybody. Talk soon.
Bye.
Have
Yeah.
a good
Bye.
night.
All right.
You
Good night.
too.